Just a quick disclosure to share in conjunction with this podcast. Each of us are speaking to our personal experiences and do not consider ourselves experts and cannot offer medical, therapy, financial, or legal advice. We represent a wide range of experience on the autism spectrum and will always honor each perspective that is brought to our discussions. Our experiences, opinions, and perspectives are all unique and different and will be celebrated. Thank you so much for listening and connecting with us. Thank you. Welcome to Navigating Adult Autism. We're just a bunch of moms with a lot of perspectives, a lot of opinions, and a lot of experience. And our subject today is, what's up? And what's up?
What's up?
Yeah. Little update on all of our adult children on what has been going on since we started this podcast. So if you're an avid listener, we started out with using our voice or bios at the beginning. And so it's been about a year and a half. And we thought we'd just kind of let you know what's going on with our adult children and their lives and ours and how they cross over and what's been going on. So hence the title, What's Up? So Dawn, what's up with you and your son? JR, how's he doing?
I think JR is doing fine, but he's not going to tell me that.
Closer to the mic.
He's not much of a talker.
But he's been at his job for a while now, right?
He's been at his job at Walmart. He's a stalker. So I get a lot of joy out of saying that. My son's the stalker. And he started the job just about the same week that my mom passed away. So that will be forever linked in my mind.
Yeah.
But he seems to be doing well. His W-2 we picked up, and, you know, it's a lot more money than he has ever made before. And so now we have the process of trying to tell him how to use that money wisely. Mm-hmm. He really enjoyed celebrating Christmas, not so much buying presents for me or my husband, but his cousin's children. He sort of went all out.
That's cool.
And
cool.
He always did like buying gifts.
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm. And buying a birthday present for Zara, he decided, he told me he doesn't work full-time, almost full-time. He's working about 32 hours a week.
That's good.
So I think it was a Wednesday. He doesn't work on Wednesdays. So he told me, Mom, I want to go shopping.
He's a shopper. I love it.
Okay, JR. You know, both of your parents are working today, 8 to 5, and we can't take you anywhere. And so we worked out that I would take him to the Walmart on the south side near my work. And because it's open, the doors were opened at 7:30. And so from there, he went to Best Buy. So across a busy intersection, he walked. I think he walked then to the Battlefield Mall.
Wow.
I met up with him at the Battlefield Mall, took his packages, and went to work. Now, we're communicating via cell phone, you know. And we end up at the end of the day, I pick him up at another Walmart on the west side of town.
Oh, my God.
Wait a minute. He's walking this?
He's been doing a lot of shopping.
He's walking.
Bus?
He's riding the bus.
Okay, the bus.
He even went to Bass Pro. Yeah,
Wow.
combination.
'Cause he knows how to use the bus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know, if this day goes well, I can say, what a wonderful mom I am. I'm letting my son have the freedom to bounce all over Springfield. And if it goes bad, you know, somebody's going to ask, what on earth were you thinking? And I don't know if I would have had an answer for that. So I think he's doing well. He's taking a class on money management.
Awesome.
With the Abilities First.
Oh, through Abilities First? Okay.
And we have another opportunity lined up through Central Bank. Rebecca Green is going to be doing something in April, which, again, can't advertise because by the time this airs, it'll all be over. But there are several opportunities right now in town.
Yeah, Empowerabilities usually have
For finances, you're saying?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's geared for the consumer, for JR. And so I think JR's doing well. I remember in one podcast I said, there are times where he seems to be a ball of needs. And so, there's some rough spots there that still need to be addressed. And it may have to be somebody other than me that addresses them. But when I hear your stories, especially on the epilepsy and, other medical complications, it's like, slap me silly if I ever say that again. So, life is okay. He's probably going to be a minimum wage job unless God gives him an occupation or a skill. It's going to be minimum wage. So my husband and I, Steve, we're going to have to be intentional about securing his future with supplemental monies.
Income, yeah.
And I am toying with the idea of just saying, forget the games that we have to play to get the government money.
Right.
And I don't know how wise I am on that. I really don't. It may be one of those situations where they'll look at me and go, what were you thinking? Even toying with that idea. But keeping him poor on paper, is not a lot of fun. Taking money out of his account that he's worked for and he knows it's there and taking it out. Say, I'm sorry, we're going to have to put this in the ABLE account and I've told that story already on the podcast. But anyway, I think JR's good. He's spending far too much time in his room playing his video games. Temple Grandin's warning keeps coming back to me on that.
But I mean, he is working 32 hours a week.
Exactly.
in the community.
So he has some free time.
And,
Yes.
I think that's great.
I've watched him interact with the public. I can't, go around with my camera or stalk him as he's talking. But
Yeah. Walmart, can we get some video footage of aisle 3?
Exactly. He did have one encounter with a shopper where evidently he ran into her or whatever. He was manning a cart and so, but I think they were able to smooth over that. And so...
So your particular Walmart's been really easy to work with as far as you know and very supportive. It seems like it.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
I went, you noticed my haircut? Yes, I got it cut at Walmart. And I'm talking to the beautician, and I said, well, I scheduled this because, my son with autism works until 4. And then she started telling me about her son who worked at Walmart and didn't have a good experience, and evidently he walked off the job after the lead, I guess that's the terminology they use, wasn't treating him well. And so, I driving home with JR. So JR, have you ever been yelled at on the job or anything along that line? And there's this pause and nothing. No. Okay. So I'm not going to get details. I'm not going to know. But from everything I can see, he likes the money. So,
he likes it enough to go back. I mean, that's what even though I know he's not going to have a whole long conversation with you about it. I get that for sure. But
that's a success right there.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Talking about Zion, who doesn't, he doesn't go back usually if it's a bad experience. So,
well, he survived school. I mean, he showed up for school every day. One quick story before I give up the mic. I'm out in the public, and somebody comes up to me and asks me, "Are you JR's mom?" Yeah.
Is that your response?
Yeah. What are you gonna say? And then she said, "Does he have autism?" I was like, yes. However, did you know? And it turned out that she works at Walmart. with him. And the reason that she knew my face was because she had seen me pick him up. And then talking to her further, she's worked for some of our support agencies, you know. So it's like, okay, God, you know, there's at least one person, you know.
Pulling for him.
Yeah. And
that's good.
You know, it's not a secret. I don't think JR goes around, you know, saying that he has autism, but in his case, even mom disclosure, I think is going to help him.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's got to boost his self-esteem too. I mean, have you seen a change in him? You're probably tired too from working. I mean, they get tired, you know.
Yeah. He might be a little more open to talk, you know.
I know he talked a lot more from SWI when he worked there. I mean, I could, you know, when I was walking down the aisles, he would stop and wave and come over to me. And I was like, oh, hey, he never used to do that before.
Yeah,
so
I think once he gets familiar, you know, comfortable.
Yeah, well, that's good.
It is good.
That's really good. Cynthia, what about you?
Eric is he's really loving being a dad. Because he has a lot of responsibility with me. He takes the baby to the daycare at about 6:40 every morning, drops her off, and then he goes to school.
Where he works.
Yeah, at Willard, and gets there before 7. Wow. And then he has to go pick her up as soon as he gets off, and then he takes her home, and then I know he's wiped out.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll come to our house and he'll try to take a nap and let me take care of her for a little bit.
Yeah, he's tired.
Because he is wiped.
Yeah.
He is wiped out. And so that's okay. When we can do it, I'm okay with that. But he's been at his job about a little over a year now at Willard, being a para.
That's good.
And he likes it. He says he really likes it.
That's great.
Yeah, and he just went to Chicago last weekend with his wife, and they picked up some family heirlooms that they wanted to get from. They named their daughter after Viola, which is Kevin's mom, and so they had stuff that they wanted to get for her.
That's sweet.
And they went to Shed Aquarium too, and they just had a good time.
They drive up there.
Wow. They didn't leave till Friday and come back on Sunday, so it was a quick trip.
Yes, it's a long, very exciting drive, but. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And so Vi is how old?
She's 15 months.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Does he talk about the zoo anymore, or?
A little bit. He, like, being at the aquarium made him miss all that kind of stuff.
Oh, kind of reminded him.
Yeah. And he does talk about the zoo some. If he just doesn't want to think about it or what, I don't know for sure.
Well, sometimes your interests change, you know, and if he's happy at Willard, that's great.
It is good.
And we need to say that he's going to be on our podcast with his wife.
Yeah, that'll be fun. He said
yes, to talk about marriage and children soon. So very soon.
Yes.
So we'll look for that. So
he's doing okay. He's doing good.
Oh, good. Heather, what's going on in your world? How's the communication device going?
It's going
Is that
great.
what we're calling it again?
Yeah, a communication device. AAC, we call it a talker.
The talker.
Whatever.
Yes.
That's like its
Like an
nickname,
iPad
I guess.
to
Yeah.
push buttons to, yeah. Does he still use it or?
We worked on it just today, actually. We're working on body parts. In the context that I need him to tell me what's hurting. That's what we're working on, like the medical part. But you can't tell me what's hurting unless you can identify what part is actually hurting. So that's what we're working on. Yeah. He I think loves being home with me, and I love being home with him. And he has, Tuesdays with coverage with a DSP, a direct support professional, that is close to his age. And I think he likes that too. So that's still going well. Gives him a little bit of break from me, and also me a break from my duties. And so that's good. But we are about to lose like direct speech therapy with Nathan, who we love and adore.
He's been a great guest a couple times.
Yes. And he's just, he's obviously still working and doing things, but he's in diagnostic. He's on the diagnostic team. So that is sad. But we're going to get some, when I say we, I mean me. I'm going to get some consultation from him. Because I need that. I'm not a speech therapist. You'd think after 23 years but I'm not experts. I didn't go to school for all this stuff. And sometimes it can be a little debilitating, as we've talked about before, where like doctors don't help you that much. They help you with medication,
right?
But they don't help you with really anything else. And then what we have, at least with autism, is therapists most of the time. Those are people that are connecting and we're seeing every week, and they're helping us and giving us ideas. And when you don't have any of those people, it's kind of a lonely, it's a lonely place. But anyway, he loves both Nathan and Hannah, who are his current therapists. So we will transition with that soon, like next week.
Okay.
Anyway, otherwise, he hasn't wanted to go to church. I haven't been able to get him to go to church in a little bit.
Was it the cold weather?
I don't know. He just says, no. It very vehemently. And I don't know why, but I think that's on therapy days too. So I thought, what's the positive? What's the silver lining in this cloud? And it's that Wednesdays would be freed up because that's his busiest day. And that's the day that we go to church. So I'm thinking, maybe this is what's supposed to be happening right now. And we'll have more time, and he'll be, because we don't get home we have maybe 30 minutes at home once we get back from all the therapies before we have to leave again. So it's just, the timing's not really great, but there was no way for me to change it. But other than that, seems happy, and
he's putting on deodorant. You said on
he's putting on deodorant. That's what happened this week. Yay!
I mean, on his own. Sorry,
on his own. Yeah. We should clarify.
Yeah, we should clarify. It's not like he's never worn deodorant.
Yeah, no, I had just shared on his Facebook page that yes, he independently is putting on his own deodorant.
That's
because I do all his hygiene and stuff, and I thought, we've got to get down to anything is progress, right? Because I'm doing it all.
Yeah.
So if he can spritz some cologne and put his deodorant on, awesome. So yeah, that's what we're working on, combing his hair, which he combs from the back to the front. No. And so, anyway, so we've got the deodorant thing going. It's going well. It's the little things that make a big difference. But otherwise, I just feel like he's happy as he's ever been, certainly since graduating from high school. I think he just likes hanging out, and then he asks to see relatives a lot.
Oh, does he?
He says, me, mom, papa, over and over and over again, and grandma, grandpa, over and over and over again.
That's so sweet.
So it is nice that, and then I have a little more flexibility because I'm not working full time and doing the other stuff. So we can plan things.
Drive over or...
and just see them or eat lunch or whatever the case may be. So
that's
overall,
nice.
it's going well.
Nice.
That's good. And then you are going to, we do want to mention, you're going to the autism conference.
Yeah, there's
in April.
The National Council of Severe Autism. We have tried to connect with them as part of our kind of, the advocacy that we wanted to do. And they're doing a day on the Hill about profound autism, and just meeting with legislators and making them aware that there's people with autism that are on TikTok talking about it.
Yes.
So that we have to not forget us. And so, we're planning for that too. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't really want to fly on a plane. I'm going to be honest. We booked it all. So we did that intentionally so that we wouldn't cancel. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's such a hard time planning just to be gone for 3 days of who's going to take care of him. Grandparents aren't really an option really at this point. And so we've got Aunt Chris, not just, but I just mean, when your scope goes down, we're like, we've got one person and she has a child that she has to take care of as well. So, but I think that's going to be exciting.
And we'll talk about that when you get back.
Yeah.
And give us an update. So.
Yeah. That's what's going on at the Woodring household.
What are your plans for St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day, yeah. Well, I should have said he's keeping up with the holidays.
Yes, remember Zachary loves holidays.
He loves holidays, yeah. I feel like he needs to have something to look forward to, I think. But yeah, since this will air later, it's, what is it, last week of February? And he just this week said St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So we put some decorations up yesterday.
That's kind of appropriate, though.
No,
really,
that's good. That's a good time. We've
You're
got
kind of on target.
3 weeks or so because it's the 17th of March.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he put some Easter stuff away that he had previously put up after Christmas because he had forgotten. I had to remind him that we have Valentine's Day, then we have St. Patrick's Day, and then we have bunnies. So he put some bunnies away yesterday and put up gave me some stuff to put up. Some, clover things. So I was like, yeah, he's putting the bunnies up independently.
Did you take advantage of the Party City closing?
We went to the Party City a couple times after therapy because it's so close and got stuff. I even got like birthday candles and stuff. I mean, it was all on sale. Yeah.
It was awesome. Zion did a YouTube video on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad
I need to watch that.
But yeah, we're still in party mode.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And how's his job going?
Oh, yeah. I should think of that. Okay. His job is going well. He works a couple hours a week in our garage, which is, I'd rather work in our garage too. And he reconditions termite monitors for pest control company and Bug Zero. And I wasn't going to say, but
Bug Zero, Springfield, Missouri.
Anyway, and that's great. So he volunteered the first year and then now he's paid for 2 hours a week. So that's great for him to have a chance to, since he can't have typical employment and go to the office and do all that stuff, that this is perfect work for him. And it's work that the technicians were doing in their spare time or having to make time to do it. So now he can do it and they don't have to.
And you can see a video of that on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Everyday Adventures with Zachary, which is a great page to follow. So I'd love the video watching. He's fast too.
He's quicker than I would be, honestly.
Yeah.
And he has a very serious look on his face. He doesn't smile. He doesn't chit chat.
Right.
He just gets to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is hilarious. Anyway,
That's good.
Do you use a time timer or you're going to work this much time?
No, we actually do it by piece. So there's 200. I usually have 2 boxes of the cardboard that he replaces, and there's 100 in each box. So we usually do 2 boxes. So he's doing 200 traps at a time or monitors at a time. It doesn't take him very long. I mean, it really doesn't. Less than 30 minutes, I would say. You have to kind of set up the stuff, and then he just goes so fast it's hard to keep up with him.
Wow.
Do you give? How do you like reward? I mean, do you pay him like right then? So
no, he gets direct deposit paycheck, just like all the employees. I just didn't know if
it was like a behavioral,
like to make
like
him
a
learn
positive
that he's doing a
reinforcement.
job.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think money doesn't really. I don't think he knows he has to have money to go to McDonald's or something like that because he grabs the money, but he doesn't completely understand the value of money and what to do with it.
But you're not rewarding the task that he just completed.
Are you just saying good job?
No, it's just like a job.
Good job.
He gets no other motivation except way to go, bud. After he's done.
That's the goal.
That's the reinforcement.
And then he gets paid every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that's it.
That's good.
Yeah. Good.
Well, that's really good. So my son is still working at Wonders of Wildlife. That's where he works. 13 hours a week. I'm not sure he can do much more than that. He used to, and then it was moved back. But I will say they did, I don't know how many months ago, they gave him more duties off the floor, not dealing with the public, which was a huge help.
Yeah.
And he's just doing so much better with that. And he seems happier. And that's what I'm contributing it to because there hasn't been any, knock on wood, issues. And then someone did, I forget what they call them, and I'm sorry, but they're like praise cards for employees. So he gets some of those. He got one recently, thank goodness. Because, he always used to get complaints too.
Right. Yeah.
So, because he's a rule follower and he doesn't like anyone breaking the rules at Wonders of Wildlife. So I think he's doing pretty good over there. I will say we had one issue at his apartment complex, which we've talked about our community. And I think we talked about that. And, it dawned on me that his apartment complex and the people in the office and the people he sees at the gym, because he works out every day, well, Monday through Thursday, because that's when he works. So he doesn't work out on his days off. That's his schedule. Because sometimes I say, did you work out today? Hello, Ma, it's Saturday. I don't work out on Saturdays. And I said, oh, okay. And then it's like, do you not listen to me when I talk to you? And I'm like, are you just getting old? Yes. All the above, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, they have a little breakfast in your pajamas or something. And I wonder if they're going to listen to this podcast. But they have little things that go on in the office. In the, it might be bingo. And it's like usually for 2 hours. And he gets really excited to go to all these things. And he calls and asks what he should wear. What is he doing? And we remind him not to talk so much and, take a break. And we give him all the rules, the rundown. I guess it's been going well, except for the last time. The manager called me and there was 3 complaints about him, that he used the word whore. And he also told someone to F off, I guess, which he never does that. Mm-hmm. So, I was talking to the manager and I said, okay. And I said, well, who was it? And they're like, well, there are 2 residents. And they came up afterwards. And then I go, well, who was the third one? Well, she works in the office, which, listen, that kind of irritated me. And I said, is it the newer one there? Yes. And I said, okay, I'll take care of it. I'll talk to him about it. I'll talk to my husband. And if anything, we'll write like apology notes. And you don't need to tell me who it is, but we're going to write apologies, which we haven't really done that yet. And it's been a month and a half, I think, or more. But when I asked him about it, it just slid right off his tongue. He goes, horror? I said horror. I was talking about a horror movie. Yeah. Because when he talks, all he does is quote movies. Like all he does is talk about shows. He's not one to go, hey, how are you, Elizabeth? How are you today? He doesn't have that.
Right.
He just says, oh, aren't you glad you're here? And this is what, hey, did you watch? And he just kind of scripts. Like he just talks about all his movies. And I said, okay. I said, did you tell someone to F off? And he goes, what?
I can totally see him.
Yeah. And he goes, no. I said, I did say I said F word, but I was quoting a movie, Mom. I was quoting a movie. I mean, it really upset him.
Yeah.
Aww. And then I said, okay, well, I was just checking because I got a call from the manager and he goes, well, I'll handle that today when I go to work out. And I said, well, how are you going to handle it? I'm going to tell him what I said. And, part of me, I'm like, you know what? Let him go advocate for himself.
Yeah.
Go
for sure.
Do it. And I have not followed up with the manager yet, but it ticked me off that the girl that worked there complained. But on the other hand, the manager was telling me that, how do you want me to handle this? And so I appreciated that. And I said, so in the future, yes, talk to him, grab him, tell him he's very supportive.
Because he could have told him right then. He said horror. I mean, that could have been cleared up real quick.
Yeah. And I don't know if these ladies, how old they were. I don't know if they didn't hear him right. Because my hearing's not the best right now. So I thought, did they misunderstand him? But I still need to talk to the manager about that. But it disappointed me because I thought this is his little world right here.
Right.
And if, and how do these people, what planet are you on that you didn't know my son had an issue just by talking to him? You can, kind of tell that he doesn't speak the same way, but he does quote movies and he quotes them verbatim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What they say. So that was a new issue that I sort of handled. I still need to handle it. But he said it went, of course I said, well, how did it go? He goes, oh, it went great. I told them that this is what I said and they were fine with it. And I'm like, oh, I wonder. So I've been
they can't, knowing him, have thought he was intentionally saying something like that to upset them.
Yeah.
So hopefully when he did come in. Yeah, but I mean, he would say, would he not say, Mom, I was mad at them or something, and I said this? Like, he would totally tell you the truth.
He would. And he would probably be angry about it or say, I sure did because, he would tell me that, but he didn't. I mean,
hopefully those ladies learned a little lesson when he came in and he said, I didn't even say, one was in context and he didn't even say it.
Yes.
And the other one was not the right word. Right. So maybe next time they'll be a little slower to pass judgment and run to the manager.
Yeah. And I don't know if the manager talked to those residents there, but when I pick them up and take him to work, I always see people walking. I'm always like, I wonder if because some of them look at him or whatever, but, because he's very welcoming. If someone's in his apartment, they move next door. He's like, hi, I'm, oh gosh, but,
so this is the guy that brought Taco Tuesday to a restaurant because he wanted to share his tacos.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's very friendly.
Can't beat
thoughtful.
That.
Yes, he can be, but yeah. On the flip side, we have someone cleaning his apartment now, like once a month. That's not going too well. He doesn't really like, because
people in his space, maybe.
Yeah. Well, they come at 1:00 right after his workday. Who's he's tired and why are they coming at 1:00? And I'm like, you know what? Just so I have to be over there to make sure that nothing.
You have to supervise.
You have to supervise and make sure. But I don't know how long we're going to do that. But his apartment just needed a deep cleaning and whatever. But on the whole, he's doing really, really good, I guess. But, we constantly get like the spam you get on your phone. He texts us constantly screenshots of everything he gets. And we're like, it's spam, delete, spam, so he's very, I think he lets us know what's going on most of the time. But I'm just thrilled that they gave him some duties off the floor, because dealing with the public, as everyone knows, is not always
too hard.
And it's just frustrating for him. So I'm really pleased about that. So
that's good.
Yeah. And his birthday's coming up and he'll be 33. So,
wow.
I can't believe I have a 33-year-old. Lord above. But anyway.
You want to go, Elizabeth?
All right. Yep, I will go. So I'm going to, give you some updates on Nicole, Nathan, and Chase.
Yeah.
So
go for it.
All right. Well, the big one is Nicole. She applied for a grant through Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council for a storytelling project. It was a competitive grant. I think the final grant proposal was almost 30 pages. I mean, it was, it was a pretty intense proposal and everything that went into it. And she found out that she was awarded as the grant recipient. And I don't know if she wants me to say how much money, but it's a lot of money. Okay. And so what the project is, and she got to, they gave kind of the basic what is required of the grant, and then she developed the program that she would want to do, meeting their goals, but also making it her own project. But it is, the project is to identify a person or a family in each county in the state. And that person, whoever was chosen, will be able to meet with her as a photographer. She'll come and she'll take some pictures and she'll interview them and learn their story. So it's a storytelling, it's called the Missouri Storytelling Project. Awesome. So she learns about their story, and then so the person doesn't have to actually write their story. They just have to, they're interviewed. Of course, they'll get to approve, the final draft, but these stories will be put into a website and into book form to be used to leverage change. So the stories we're not looking for success stories. Now, there will be some success stories, but it's really about barriers. So it's not just, we overcame this barrier. What are the barriers that we have now? What are families facing? Wow. They got a job, but they don't have transportation. They got a job, but now all of a sudden they make too much money and lose all their benefits. They, all these, they can't pay for medication. They've got this cut. And so it's really about the barriers.
Worked for Voc Rehab, or they worked with Voc Rehab for 2 years and never got a job.
Exactly. Those are exactly the stories she wants. So, and I will put on the flyer on our Facebook page. So, there you can, anybody in the state can go and fill out the survey. If they fill out, it's just so sad because there are so many good stories, but the grant is limited to picking one story per county. So she'll look through those. But anybody that fills out the form will get all the tools that are developed. So the online trainings, any checklists, and how do we contact, our legislators? How do we contact the media? How do we make a difference with our story? So everybody will receive that information. And it was kind of cute. She was asked to be a speaker at an upcoming event, March 20th at a conference. And so she's like, yeah, she gets the paperwork and it says, Nicole Obrey, keynote.
Yeah.
I was like, honey, do you know exactly
what that means?
She goes to a lot of conventions. I don't know how many conferences she goes to, but I'm like,
oh my,
keynote, you got to make sure you're really, really prepared.
Right. So, you're the keynote speaker.
Yeah,
oh gosh.
So lots of exciting. We went up to the Disability Rights Legislative Day yesterday. So myself and Sam, her youngest sister, we went up and to, we met a lot of people at the Capitol there and told them about the project. Lots of families were excited. So we hope, we want our listeners to, if you're in the state or if you're out of state and you know somebody here, help to, we want to reach as many families as we can. We want to be able to fill all those county spots. And really it's a lot of diversity is a requirement of this grant. So it is intellectual and developmental disabilities, but the whole range, and we're talking, any other kind of identifier that you can think of, from low income to just everything. So the project itself is to be inclusive. So lots of different people, lots of different ages, different skin colors, whatever kind of identifier. We want variety, so that we can reach everybody's stories. So we're really excited on that. We're in the outreach phase right now. So so going over there's a nice QR code, or we'll have the, the link there. So go over it and get that done. She's very, she was so excited and very nervous, turning it in, and was so excited. And then she got it. And thank you. Yeah, actually it was Dawn that told us about this opportunity. And then she got it and she was sworn to secrecy. And we were just dying to tell Dawn, because everybody, we wanted Dawn to know, but she was absolutely sworn to secrecy. And she is on the spectrum, and she was given a rule.
Exactly.
Right.
And I was a mom trying to respect her.
Exactly.
Respecting the rules. And I was like, this is killing me.
Oh my goodness.
But so we were so excited to tell Dawn that this came through. And we really appreciate you pointing that out for her, because it's just absolutely, it's making a change. It's really validated all her work and her art, the photography she's done. So each person that's chosen, they will have 4 professional pictures taken by and edited by her. And then she'll do the story as well.
Well, the MODDC, am I reading that right?
Yes.
Missouri Developmental Disability Council, right? Yeah, they advertised it. And so, I thought of Nicole.
Yep.
And the thought hit me. Even if you don't get chosen for this project, we would encourage everybody to share their story, either on Facebook, get to a support group, let somebody know. Because there are ways to overcome barriers. And I think the only way, I think everybody needs help. And sometimes the best help comes from a story from another parent.
Yeah.
Right.
That's sort of like the Faces of Autism that we did project. Many years ago.
Yeah. It's just,
I might fill that out about transportation, because that's such a huge issue.
Yeah. And that's, so anybody that wants to fill that out, we will keep, running through the materials. And so you'll have updates on the website and the book. And so we also, then you will be kind of in our story bank, because Nicole's idea is, that hopefully we would get, once this is finished, that we'll keep running through those stories. And they might not be in the book or get this certain type of attention, but running through and doing spotlights, on the Facebook page and different pieces of social media. So that doesn't mean their story will not be used, but yes, getting that's a big part. And she's, her keynote is less about the apply to my project than it is, how do I share my story? How do I accept criticism about my story? So how do I tell a story where people are going to listen? How do I make, my story? Because I know with her, we could tell the story about how, she didn't speak till, she was over 3, and she got into the drama, and then she went and tried out for plays, and she got the role of Violet Beauregard, and it was a great experience. Or she could say, this is my story. When I was 3 years, or when I was 4 years old, I ran screaming from the theater because I saw Violet Beauregard in Willy Wonka turn purple, and it scared me to death, you know. And so it was sensory overload. When I was in high school, I tried out for this play, and I got that role. And I did my best, and I got an award for my role. I took what was a challenge for me as a child, and I wanted to face it again. And not only was I successful and enjoyed it, I even got a shiny little trophy, you know. So there's a difference in those two stories.
Right.
And so that's really what she wants to capitalize on, and teaching people, not just telling them, yes, you have this great story, you have this barrier to overcome, but also how do we tell that story so that the listener actually hears it?
Right.
You know, so using her talents of writing and the arts and the craft of writing that she does. So that's really exciting. Really exciting right now. She's in Dallas right now. She's in her busy season for dance photography. So she's flying. She just flies all over.
Wow,
the place.
good for her.
So she took off, and she's this will be her 4th weekend in a row where she's been out. So
wow,
she's doing really well with that. She's got, during the busy season, she's got to make the money, and it's been hard. It's been challenging. And it's been really challenging. The noise level is just, and she's really working on what kind of, accommodation that she can make for herself, because it's just so loud. Because it's loud enough, and you have these dancers in there, but they do their dance and then they go into the hall. And so she's there 10 to 14 hours.
Yes. We forget that our kids still do need that break. I mean, even my son at this age, we were at dinner the other night at a restaurant, and I said, you can go walk. I could just tell the look on his face. I'm like, go step away, go walk outside for a while, then come back. Oh, okay. So, it's just stuff so she still struggles with that.
And I think that's part of the story too, that you take a look at Nicole, and you shouldn't compare, but there's no way my son could do any of that. And yet Nicole has struggles. It's not an easy road. I mean, autism does throw up barriers no matter how brilliant you are,
Yeah, she's still texting Mom, I don't know if I can make it. I've just got another hour. I can't. And I'm like, just ask him if you step out. She said, I can't. And I'm just not going to make it. And so,
oh goodness.
I mean, that's the thing. We don't want people to feel like you have to have a success story. That's not what this project's about. It's about those barriers and what can the community do? What can the law do? What can, what can a person do for themselves? What can families do? What are the resources? How can we use these to get those tools, resources to help people to overcome barriers, or how to break down those barriers even better?
Right.
So that's where she's at. Nate, we're really excited. His seizures, we're really working hard. His seizures are decreasing. If we make it just through Friday, he will have only had 1 this month.
Oh, wow.
He had 2 last month. So we're working on decreasing that, and still trying to get into that level 4.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
It's, just the referral process. They said, one place says, well, we sent it on December 30th. We didn't receive it, back and forth. We didn't check in the fax number, doing all this. And, and finally I talked to them this morning. They're like, okay, we finally got it. Cause both parties are saying, well, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. I'm like, but then we still don't have a date, we don't have. And so I talked to them today, and they said, okay, we've got him, and we've only processed through, this date. So if we don't call you by next week, then call us. That's okay. And how far out are we scheduling? And so I was pleased it was only 6 weeks. I was like 6. I was like, oh no. And she said weeks. I was like, oh, okay, we can do that. We can do that. But he also is doing amazing with his dog, his service dog. We were so afraid. We just kept telling them, they're like, we're going to get this dog, and he's going to be like, You know, of course, in his head, not verbally. He'd be like, "You got me a dog? What were you thinking? What?
How much did you spend again?"
Exactly. He loves that dog. He doesn't hug him and cuddle him, but he gets everybody else out of, he tells everybody else, the door that way, move please. Bo just leans on him, leans on his legs, gets on his bed, is by him constantly. And he just accepts him. He loves, he's proud of him when people stop and they'll talk about, Nathan will go up and pat him on the head. That's my dog. And he now gives him a treat before bed. He's got a little treat box in his room. And last night he got a treat out and gave it to him. And he pulled a second one out and tossed it to him. So, and he's noticed a couple times, we'll be busy and we'll let him out. And, I'm really good about watching him, but sometimes, other things are happening and Bo will come back to the door and he'll just stand there at the, it's a glass door and he'll just stand there and Nathan will be like, Bo. And so I said, well, if he's there, you let him in. So he's starting to let him in.
Good.
So that's really good.
Neat.
But yeah,
That's neat.
Yeah, we couldn't be more thrilled with how it's turned out. And then, but yeah, talking community, we were at the store the other day and a young man came up to us and he goes, "Did he go to Hillcrest?" And I said, yeah. He goes, "I remember him." I said, I see he's still organizing. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, "He's really good at that." He goes, I just wanted to say hi.
That was nice.
Thank you. I said,
nice.
I like that he's noticed and he's remembered.
Yes.
I mean, that's just going to make me cry. He remembered him. And Nathan's, he's 22. He's been out of, he did go to, he's 21, but, but, he's been out of school for 2 years now. And this, and then not only did this young man remember him, recognize him, he felt enough to come up and say something. And I really liked that.
That's nice. Good manners.
Yeah. Because I remember way back when talking to this lady and I know I've shared it before, and she was talking about her experience, when she was younger going to school and, it was before a lot of people knew about autism. And she said, I know there was this one guy, he probably had autism. Yeah. I always remember him because he used to lick the bottom of his shoe. And I was like, why would you say that to me? I was like, and you're, making this association with my child that, okay, you remember this kid because he licked the bottom of his shoe. I don't want my child to be remembered as the kid that licked the bottom of his shoe. So I don't know, in a way, this young man undid that.
Yeah.
Really, if you think about it.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like, that's why it meant so much to me, I think. Because, he wasn't the kid that was remembered for doing something like that. Yeah. He was remembered.
It was a typical, normal response to seeing someone you thought you knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
So I loved that too.
Yeah.
So, Chase, just today got his a link to ask for a interview. He finished one of his internships at school, and they in the dining hall, and his supervisor was really sad that he's moving to a different internship, and asked if he would apply for a job on the days he's not there. And the dining hall, because she said he does so great. He's one of the best workers she's ever had. So
Good.
and he decided that was something he liked and he wanted to do. And,
That's awesome.
and so that's really, really
great.
exciting. So, he'll get that, he'll make that application or, actually doing she wanted him, he had an internship, he gets the job, he's going to go through the process. And I was like, well, I want him to make sure he does that. And I didn't want to assume that they were going to do that, but I think they were. And I was like, we're not just, okay, he did great in this special internship and let's just slide him in, have him go through, even though he was requested, that's huge. But I want him to have that experience and understand that, that's how we get a job. So, yeah, so he's pretty, he's funny. I'm asking, you want to do this? And he's nods and he says, maybe yes.
That's cute.
So he's learned, I guess I think part of it's from over the years when he's processing and thinking, I'm like, you gotta tell, you gotta give the listener a cue that you're actually thinking instead of just being silent for a minute or two. So yeah, I think that's maybe, but yeah, that's kind of maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what he's doing. Yeah. That's funny.
So yeah, so really excited for him. And he's picked up pickleball and he really likes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he likes that. That's good.
That is good.
It's just a fun thing for him that he's
absolutely
liking to continue with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, and as far as myself making that change, yes, from working full time to being at home, I'm really working on my time management and not doing very well.
So are you at home full time now?
A little bit at the ARC.
Okay.
I still work, probably equivalent of a day, but boy, because it's so easy to look at all things that need to be done instead of focusing on, there's always something to do. And I'm like, no, I'm here because they can, with Nathan and Chase, they'll keep themselves busy.
Yeah.
But in a lot of their busyness doesn't help them necessarily grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It's
an adjustment.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's where we're at. Oh, well, and Sammy and Brooke, I always hate to not say them because I got other kids too. But yeah, Brooke got a new job and she's just loving it. She gets to stay remote, but it's more along her master's program. It's still the same kind of oiling, gas and utilities type work. But she has to use her GIS, so her master's degree in GIS, so it's just electronic maps.
Yeah,
And
really.
then,
God bless her.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my goodness.
Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah. According to her dad, she fixed the Texas thing. She did work on the project, but
Good for her.
according to Dad, she fixed it. That's good. And then Sam's back from her internship at Disney, and getting ready to apply for some cake decorating type stuff, but doing a lot of great work and working with the boys. So
That's awesome.
That is good.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
take us home.
Save me for last, or save Zion for last. So Zion's in a little bit of transition right now. He decided to quit the program that he was going to. I'm not going to name it because it really wasn't, it was his decision. We left it up to him. And we made him make the decision. So because we wanted him to feel the responsibility of that. So, and he finally decided after 2 weeks being absent. And he decided, let's see, what is he doing now? Well, he slept a lot for a while and he's still sleeping a lot. Trying to get him up every day is like using, you have to get a shoehorn out and it's very difficult, but
is he a night owl? Does he stay up late?
He is. And he has put out, he's being prolific on YouTube with his YouTube content. So you can hear him at night making YouTube videos. He's done one on, anything that's closing. Party City. What is the other store that's closing? Big Lots is closing as well. And now he's very interested in Joanne Fabrics. And I've you have never been in that store ever in your entire life. And you would hate it if you did go there. But he's very interested in it.
He needs to take Sam as a guest.
Yeah.
When he does that, because she is just heartbroken because she gets a lot of her cosplay material there.
Yeah.
It's a nice store.
It is a nice
It
store.
is.
Yeah, they have scrapbooking stuff.
Actually, the last thing I bought there was from my cape for Infinity's Dragon Days. That was my cape.
I didn't know they were closing.
For Renaissance. Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine? It's like one of the only fabric stores.
It's a nice one too.
Yeah.
It's a nice store.
They're closing all of them.
Yeah, they're
worldwide.
closing all of them.
Oh gosh.
So, he's still involved in Infinity Circle, talking about community. That's his outlet. He also goes out with Hannah's friends, his sister's friends. He likes hanging out with her group, and they play pickleball when it's good weather. He's really looking forward to not having any cold weather anymore. And pickleball will start up on Thursday nights, and they have a big group that they play pickleball every Thursday night. Really, and then they go to a bar. He's over 21. He drives. He doesn't drink. He just drinks soda and stuff. But he likes to go out with her. Let's see. They recently went to Comic-Con. Mary and Elizabeth.
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention that.
Mary and Elizabeth's kids were there.
Comic-Con fans.
Yep. We all dressed up. I was a weeping angel. Hannah was, I have no idea what she was. Some sort of sexy death person. Okay. And Zion was a Best Buy employee.
Love it.
And we got that costume at Party City's closing. And we just recently hired someone new in our life because he wasn't going to school anymore. So we hired someone to help him, sort of like a life coach, keep him on track. And it's been wonderful. She comes on Fridays, and just made goals for him every week to fill. And he has completed 3 of those goals already. He cleaned up his room, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. And he lured us into his bedroom yesterday and said, I have a surprise. And I was thinking he had bought another CRTV or some sort of like vintage electronics. And he was like, I got to show you something. And he lured us down there. I was like, oh gosh, what did he buy? What did he spend his last money on? And he opened the door and he said, ta-da. And I was looking for a CRTV. That's all I could see. I was like, what kind of, and an Atari, what did he spend his money? And his room was completely clean. I mean,
That's awesome.
It was amazing. So because it was clean, I'm learning behavioral therapy and CBT and, all this stuff in my master's program. And I immediately made a chart for behavioral therapy, like for positive reinforcement. I was like, okay, one check down. Yes. and I had put it on the refrigerator, and he checked off his mark today that he had kept it clean. So it's keeping it clean. And
Cool.
So we made a some sort of reinforcement. We haven't figured out what we're going to give him, but yeah. So,
but she did that. The life coach.
No, I did that.
Oh no, she
made the goal.
She made the goal. That's what I'm saying.
She worked with them to make goals, and then tomorrow they are going around to flea markets and pricing out the booths. And because he has so much vintage stuff that he's bought over the years. I mean, like when we cleaned his room, when we moved him from one room to the next, I just gave him permission. Like, okay, I gave this to you 10 years ago. It was like a McDonald's, a vintage McDonald's set. Mm-hmm. I said, you really could sell this. He was like, I don't want to sell it because you gave it to me. I'm like, please sell it. So we went through his whole room and got all this vintage stuff, and he's going to start a booth at, he's going to put his claw machine in there because he has an old claw machine, and he's going to fill it with a bunch of stuff, and then they could, play the claw machine and then look around his vintage.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he already has enough to fill just a small booth, and then tomorrow they're going to price those out. So that's what he's doing.
Well, and that's good.
Yeah. Every week he takes his main outing is taking Jasmine, his service dog, to the barkyard and for doggy daycare because she's not getting as much work right now. Mm-hmm. And she is so bored since our elder golden passed away. Yeah. So she doesn't get a lot of exercise. So she goes to the barkyard on Tuesdays, and that's the only time he wakes up early. Mm-hmm. He goes and takes her by 8:30, and yeah, he's a good dog dad. But yeah, that's about it. We're just hoping that he finds a job through Voc Rehab soon.
Or with the life coach might have some good.
Yeah, and she's working. Yeah, she's working on that as well. I'm hoping that like the combination of the flea market booth and like a part-time job would be great.
So what's his YouTube? You could tell people.
Yeah, it's Zion is here. So Zion is here. And he is, if you like anything vintage, anything retro, or you just want to know his opinion, you get to you get to see it. And he's actually really talented with editing and stuff like that. So
I love his videos. Yeah.
They're really interesting. So yeah, that's what's going on in our life.
That's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, anything else updating? No? We're good.
So
that's our What's Up episode. Just a little update from us all. See what's going on. So thank you for listening. And Tara, where can everybody find us?
you can find us on Apple and Spotify and YouTube now under Navigating Adult Autism Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Navigating Adult Autism. And then if you want to contact us, it's moms@navigatingadultautism.com.
Great. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Sorry, Sarah.